please hit that subscribe button.
Hey everybody.
Better suited to win the Stanley Cup this season. If you are new to the channel, Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins.
Locked on and he scored! And we're live. Hey everybody. So today I want to take a look at teams whose 2019-2020 season is over. It's the beginning of February. There are a number of teams now who have virtually zero shot of making the playoffs, and certainly will not be in the postseason this season. There's a lot of great division races going on right now. There's a lot of great wild card races going on right now, but there certainly are teams at the bottom of the conferences who are well out of things, and we're going to talk about them today. Notice I'm doing this video a lot later in the year this season than I did last year because in December last year, I said St. Louis's season was done when they were near the bottom of the Western Conference. And, I think we know how that turned out. But this year, it's February now. I do not see a St. Louis-type run coming from any of these bottom teams. So these teams, I think you can officially say their season this year is over. Before we start the video, I just quickly want to remind everyone to please hit that like button and give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Both of those things really do help out a lot and are greatly appreciated. So let's start with the Eastern Conference, and the obvious answer here, the Detroit Red Wings. The Detroit Red Wings have 28 points this season. Yes, it's February, not November, and Detroit has 28 points. This is the worst team the NHL has seen in a long time. Maybe the worst non-expansion team ever. They are really bad. So their season was over from the start. It's definitely over now. Detroit's done. New Jersey, one of the league's biggest disappointments this year. 46 points, second to last place in the Eastern Conference. They are done. Only 18 wins on the season. It's been a brutal year for New Jersey. Ottawa, the team that we all knew was going to be pretty bad heading into this season, they also only have 18 wins on the season, 47 points. They're done, and they've been done all season long. They never really had a chance from the get-go this year. Buffalo, they had a good first month of the season, but it's been pretty much all downhill from there. They're at 53 points right now, more than 10 points back of a playoff spot. Buffalo is all done. Their season is over. This will be the 9th straight season that the Buffalo Sabres do not make the playoffs. They're going for a decade next year. That's rough for Sabres fans. I've talked about that. I feel bad for Sabres fans. They deserve better than this, but this team once again is near the bottom of the league. New York Rangers at 54 points right now. They're out of it. Yes, they've shown some progression this year. They've shown some good signs of youth and moving forward, and a young team, rebuilding team that has potential to be good in the future. They're not there yet. They're not making the playoffs this season. Again, they're out of a playoff spot by more than 10 points. They're not making that up. The Rangers are all done. And lastly, the Montreal Canadiens, who have 57 points through 55 games, they're not going to the playoffs. I don't care what they do at the trade deadline. I don't care what they do the rest of the season. The Montreal Canadiens are not making the playoffs this year. So those are the Eastern Conference teams that are out of it at this point in the season. Those teams have virtually no chance of making the playoffs. All the other teams in the East are either in a playoff spot or within striking distance of a playoff spot still at this point in the season. So now let's move on to the Western Conference and take a look on what's going on out west. The Los Angeles Kings, the worst team in the Western Conference, only 43 points at this point in the season. It's been a tough year again for LA, much like last year. Their season is over, and again, they were a team that going into this season we did not expect much from. So their season's kind of been over the entire year, really. Anaheim, 49 points through 53 games right now. And similar to LA, that's a team that's not going anywhere anytime soon. Anaheim needs to go into full rebuild mode at this point. They're having a really tough year this year after a pretty down year last year. I think last year was just kind of the beginning of the end for the Anaheim Ducks. Now we're full on, this team is bad and needs to rebuild. San Jose Sharks, they've been one of the biggest disappointing teams as well this season. This was a conference final team last year in the West. They now are at 50 points, 10 points out of a playoff spot with 54 games. Just a brutal disaster of a season for San Jose. They've got major problems that they need to address with that roster. But this season, at least as far as this year goes, they are done. It's over. No playoffs this year for San Jose. That's going to be it. I'm borderline on Minnesota. I kind of want to call Minnesota's season over because I do not think that they're going to pass 4 teams in the standings. But they're at 54 points, which is 6 points out with still a third of the season left. It's kind of hard to call them out at this second, but Minnesota's pretty much done. They're on the border of their season being over versus not. They're behind, a number of teams in their division, Winnipeg, Chicago, Nashville, all right on that playoff line. They're behind all of them. They would have to pass 4 teams to somehow get into a playoff spot. I don't see that happening, but they're only 6 points back, so I don't necessarily want to call them completely dead yet. So Minnesota's on the borderline, but the 3 California teams, their season is definitely over. So those are the Western Conference teams whose 2019-2020 seasons are done. And so if you've heard me talk about your team in this video, then I'm sorry, but your team will not be playing in the playoffs this year. They're playing out the rest of this season as a formality. Either they'll play spoiler to develop some younger players, or maybe to go for that first overall draft pick and be as bad as possible at like the Detroit Red Wings. But if you did not hear me talk about your team in this video, then congratulations. Your team is either in a playoff spot or well within striking distance of a playoff spot and still does have playoff hopes this season. So congratulations if that's the case. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the video or the channel, the links to our merchandise store and Patreon are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.